Hey, what's up everybody, this is Cornbeaner. Today is November 21st, 2012, and after a week removed from all the hype that brought in over $500 million in revenue in its first 24 hours, this is my review for Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is the direct sequel to Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and takes place in futuristic date 2025. As you start off in this game, you take control of David Mason. David Mason is the son of Black Ops 1 protagonist Alex Mason. As you start off as David Mason, you go to what is pretty much a retirement village to go visit Frank Woods. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Frank Woods was the character that was thought to be killed in action during the events of Black Ops 1. Well, apparently he survived those events and now kind of acts as the liaison to all the events that take place from the mid-80s all the way to futuristic date 2025. The story in this game is immaculate. I truly believe that the story in Black Ops 2 is the best story to have been written since the original Modern Warfare 1 back in 2007. The plot around this story is that you are trying to stop a ruthless cartel leader by the name of Raul Menendez. And going along with the story, Raul Menendez is possibly the greatest villain to ever be written for the Call of Duty franchise. This man is a monster when it comes to the actions that he is able to perform in Black Ops 2. But at the same time, once you play through the game, there are 40 years of story that take place that is being told through the view of Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and David Mason that will show why Raul Menendez is the monster that he is, but at the same time why he takes the actions that he takes. And Raul Menendez, even though being a monster, somewhere underneath this man is just a straight human being. The way that the story progresses and flows to tell all the events as far of what's going on to cover the 40 years is great. The pacing is just fantastic. And I like the use of pre-rendered cutscenes to kind of get to the really emotional parts in this game. There are a lot of parts in this game that if you are a big Call of Duty fan and have played all of the campaigns, particularly the ones made by Treyarch, you will feel a connection with these characters. And instead of telling you some of these story elements through in-game cutscenes, that has been the norm for the majority of the Call of Duty franchise, these pre-rendered cutscenes take the emotion above beyond what I thought I could feel in the Call of Duty game. And I do believe that the story and production for Black Ops 2 is probably the best produced story campaign for the Call of Duty franchise since Modern Warfare 1. And the only reason why this game does not surpass Modern Warfare 1 in my opinion is 5 years into this game and the gameplay stays the same. The gameplay, despite all the advancements and all the nice progression that was made during the production of the story, the gameplay stays the same and it tends to bog this game down. This is the same Call of Duty that you have been playing since Modern Warfare 1. The control schemes is the same. Even though the control scheme is the best control scheme in my opinion for any first-person shooter, the gameplay at this point feels real stale. In between all the great story sequences, I felt myself just sometimes bored just trying to get to the next story segment, which again just goes to show how great the story is, that had me intrigued, that I had to play these snippets of boring gameplay to get to the next one because I wanted to know the story. I wanted to know all the stuff that that takes place in those 40 years. But unfortunately, the gameplay just kind of bogs it down. One of the cool things that Treyarch also added to the single player campaign was that this game has decisions that the player has to make. While I'm not too sure about some of the smaller interactions you will have in this game, the last interaction that a user is confronted with actually does change the game a lot. Depending on what decision you make as a player at the very end of this game will determine what ending you are shown at the end of the game. And the endings are just completely different. And that again is just speaking how much Treyarch put into the story. Both endings have their own deep feeling, but one of them being my straight favorite, which I will not spoil for you guys, so you guys can play it yourselves. Zombies in this game is back. They made enough changes to zombies where it does feel good. It does feel different as a new version of zombies. It does feel like a necessary upgrade for zombies, but just like older versions of zombies, this mode is going to be a mode that you need to play with a couple of buddies to really get that full effect of accomplishing something in this game. I played it solo. Wasn't really my forte, but in my mind, if I had a couple buddies to play this with, I believe it would have been fantastic. Multiplayer in this game is also kind of similar to what has been played. The main difference is I did play it for the PS3 and is actually playable. I know there are some reports out there that a bunch of players are getting a bunch of either lag or not being able to start up a game. I didn't experience any of that, and just playing the few games that I actually played, this game felt completely playable, which is the complete opposite of Black Ops 1. I played Black Ops 1 for about 2 weeks online on the PS3, and the lag and hit detection, everything was just terrible. I believe that was a generally terribly put together game for the PS3. With this game, all that seems to have been fixed. I had no problem finding matches. Hit detection was pretty much spot on, or at least within an acceptable range for a multiplayer game. And there was virtually no lag on my end of my experience. Multiplayer has kind of been redefined a little bit. Some of the kill streak perks tend to feel a little overpowered, but I believe that is just kind of the basic rule of thumb now since Modern Warfare 2. The perks themselves that you get during your loadout seem to be more refined and more concentrated on making specific classes as opposed to having like 20 different perks for the same thing essentially. But again, it's gonna be one of those things that you're gonna see a lot of use going into it if you have buddies. All in all, I truly believe that Black Ops 2 is the best overall produced Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 1. The only thing again that's holding this franchise back, I believe, is the game's engine. They've been using the same graphics engine, the same gameplay engine since Modern Warfare 1, and I believe this was a big hindrance to Treyarch's overall development, that they have to use this engine. Now that Treyarch pretty much has the reins to the Call of Duty franchise, or just the Call of Duty titles in general, I'm very excited to see how much further they can push this. If they are allowed to make gameplay changes, engine changes to this franchise, I believe that they will create something special in the near future, if allowed to be given that opportunity. From what is in this game, storytelling, writing, and just overall presentation of the Call of Duty franchise has been given a major overhaul, and I truly enjoy this game. What was added as far as presentation of story, the couple tweaks they made to zombies and multiplayer is definitely worth a play. I would suggest this game as a play to anybody that is out there, whether it's 360, PS3, PC. Play this game. I'm going to give this game an 8 out of 10. I went in thinking I was going to really just hate this game, and the opposite was true. I actually really enjoyed my time with this game, so much so that I'm really thinking about just investing a heavy amount of time into this game as far as multiplayer goes. But we'll see how that goes. At the end, yeah, 8 out of 10. I highly recommend it, at least for a playthrough, just to see some of the presentation differences that Treyarch has made to the story campaign. They might seem small, just pre-rendered cutscenes and a couple of decisions, but it adds replayability to the single player campaign, which is pretty new for the Call of Duty franchise. At the end, I really enjoyed this game. I recommend that people out there at least try this game. There's a thing called Redbox where you can just rent the game and just try it out, and I recommend this play for anybody. 8 out of 10. I hope this was somewhat helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.